Jim and Kiilu.
Awesome. Well, welcome to another wonderful edition of Fireside Chat with Kiilu and Jim and our wonderful president, Mr. Mogerman, who we've wrangled into joining us after Kiilu and I ran into calendaring problems and didn't realize this was scheduled 2 nights ago. So
that made 3 of us. I knew about it, but I didn't get it on the book. I'm sorry. Thanks for the invitation.
No. Well, you save that till the end. You might change that.
You might be like, oh, Lord, what did I even agree to do?
But we were saying that we started off the Fireside Chats actually with Jill, and that was many months ago. And now here we are, really the first Fireside Chat since then, when we've actually been able to have a little beverage fireside. So that's kind of nice.
Very nice.
I'm still waiting for the fire because, I've yet to see a fireside chat with fire.
It's a little hot had them right now.
Yeah, we've had them at 7:30 in the morning. We've had them at noon. We've had them at everything. Yet have we had it at night with a fire?
One of these days it'll happen.
Yeah.
Well, Cary, these are extremely informal, which is good so far, which is knock on wood. Kiilu and I have done well with our 4-letter words and keeping those out. So that's pretty good.
Great.
I think Nancy Zuckerberg really is the only one that took that. We can't be blamed for it. So that was good. But really, tell us a little bit about your history with the Academy, when you joined and all of that stuff.
Okay. Well, I joined in September 1995. And 2 others from my chapter joined the same time. One of them was Rick Van Pelt, who serves the Academy as parliamentarian this year. And I don't think I came to my first annual meeting until 97, 98, or even 99. But I haven't missed one since. Came to my first mid-year in 2004 when we went to Maui, which we haven't missed one of those since. We've really enjoyed them very much. And I decided to become involved as our chapter rep, and I think it was 2005 for Missouri. And I enjoyed 2 terms on the Board of Governors as our rep, and really got a lot out of it. I started to serve on a committee or 2. And then in 2012, I went to the executive committee as treasurer. I did that for 2 years. And I was also worked with Jim Hennenhofer in 2012 when we started the Council of Committee Chairs. And after that, just been active on several things that really mean a lot to me. The Institute, I've been active on for a number of years. I love to do that. I've done the negotiation program, co-chaired that with Elizabeth Lindsay, our immediate past president, 3 times, I think, and other projects and things, and I've always enjoyed them. I can't think of one I didn't. So that's pretty much it.
What's one of the most memorable trips you've taken with the Academy?
Boy, they've all been really good. I think the trip to Panama was amazing. I couldn't believe I was actually traversing the Panama Canal. That was unbelievable. I thought Scottsdale near Kiilu's home was wonderful. That was a great mid-year meeting. I've always enjoyed the Hawaii trips, but I know they're hard for people who live east of the Mississippi, and they're a long way. But all of them have been terrific. It would be hard to single one of them out, but I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed Indian Wells last March. We were lucky; the weather held out. We had clear skies, and we had the space station orbiting, and it was fun. Maybe because that was our first one together in person for a couple of years. What do you think? That made a difference.
I will say
huge difference.
Huge difference, but I still go back to liking meetings where when families get together, they're not spread out. So you talk about Panama, that was great because it was one small pool and, everyone was just at the pool. Indian Wells, the same thing. It was kind of like, you left and, there was adult pool and then there was the kids pool, but everyone was right around in the same area. So when you walked through, you ran into people versus some of the meetings, it's been like, hey, where are you? Well, I got to get a passport to actually come see you. But, so I really do like those types of meetings. I
do too. And I like it when we have, like in Indian Wells, we had, I think, 2/3 of the resort. So you couldn't stumble around without bumping into one of our colleagues or their family. And it was fun, but they've all been really pretty remarkable. You know what I like about them, especially? They're very social. And, we might get 400 people to the annual meeting, which is always great. But, there's a lot to do in Chicago and people do it. But at the mid-year, it's about half that. We might get 200 fellows and their families. And you might have just a couple people from your state, for instance. And there are opportunities of both meetings to meet a lot of people from all over, but the mid-year really, I think, provides a special opportunity for that.
Yeah, I still tell everybody that the only reason people know me is because of Michaela. Because for the first couple of years, it was like, hey, are you Michaela's dad? Yes, I am. And so that's how I was known, was Michaela's dad for the longest time.
Let me see if I can get a little bit better there.
Oh yeah, you're frozen here on the other one.
Hey, 2 gyms is better than 1. You know what I mean?
That's not what Olivia says.
No, I'm sure that's probably true.
Their day, 0 gyms are better than 1.
So, Cary, if you could go back and give advice to your younger self, what would it be?
To my younger self?
Yep.
You mean before I was a lawyer? That younger self?
You choose, just your younger self, whether it be when you were younger, whether it be when you first started practicing. It's up for your interpretation.
I think when I first started practicing, I would say lighten up. I was very anxious as a new lawyer, and I was in litigation, and you were in court a lot, and you learned a lot, and you learned it quickly, but it was really angst-ridden, and preparing for the things you prepare for, it takes you away from a lot of things. You have to do it, but I think I would say take it easy and lighten up a little bit. Do your work, but don't take it too seriously. Do your best, and after that, there's not much to say as long as you've done your best. But it's not worth, ruining or damaging your non-lawyer life over. You have to live your life, and I've been fortunate. I don't think I ruined anything that I'm aware of, but I do know that the early years were really, they were tough. And I feel better about how we do things now. And part of it's probably experience. And I think that's an advantage for a mature lawyer. And that's just something you pick up along the way. That's one thing I can think of. The other thing I would say is you don't have to do everything. Think of some area in the law that is of interest to you and focus on that. You have your whole career to change your course and pursue other paths, but you don't have to be like CJS, corpus juris, and know everything about everything. You pick an area and master it. And then if it becomes boring or you want to try something else, then do it. But don't feel like you have to start as the master. I don't know. Those are 2 things.
Okay. Actually, that kind of goes even the advice for younger fellows, so that tackled a couple different questions in one. Cary, you got to slow down a little bit,
Okay.
You got to stretch this thing out,
We were saying the same thing, except Kiilu, how many committees I think did you get brought in on, like what your first 7 or 8?
I think my first after my first meeting, actually in my first meeting, I think I was on like 4. And by the end of Chicago, I was on 7 committees. I don't know how it happened. I didn't even
Yeah.
ask for them. I remember Barbara Runge one time. I actually, I'd gone to, I think she was like chair or something of, I want to say it was mediation or arbitration. I think it was arbitration. And I accidentally went to that meeting because I thought it was mediation. And so I'm sitting down and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I think I have the wrong meeting. And she's like, oh no, stay. And so I stayed for the meeting. I was like, okay, I'll stay. And then I'm sitting in the CLE, and then she just comes and taps me on the shoulder and says, oh, by the way, I spoke to Jim and you're now on arbitration. I was like, what? And so that's how a lot of that stuff kind of happened. But
It does. Anytime you see somebody who's energetic and eager to participate, they're hard to miss, and the committee chairs spot them. And that's another thing. You're right. You have to kind of moderate it. Otherwise you can't do everything. You have to be a little judicious about what you get on. But
absolutely.
It's fun though. It's all fun.
So let me ask you this. If you could ask yourself one question, what question would it be?
If I could ask myself?
Yep.
Gosh. These are tough questions, Kiilu.
These are hard hitting.
If I could ask myself one question, I would say, how about a little more personal discipline? Why can't you do that? We all have little things we'd like to do better. And I don't think it's that hard. It's just sometimes, you eat something you shouldn't eat. That's not good. You stay up later than you should stay up. That's not good. These meetings are a lot of fun socially, and, everything in moderation. But I can't think of anything substantive I would ask myself. I probably wouldn't trust the answer.
Okay, so the question, so your question sounds like it says, Cary, why can't you have more self-discipline?
That's the question.
So then now you have to answer.
You know what? I think the times we make the decisions that we make that are like maybe against our interest, it's in part emotional. I think, I know every time I go to this restaurant, I feel bad about myself afterwards, let's say. And so why do I go there? Because it really tastes good and it's going to make me feel good to be there. And you go and you associate things with how you think they make you feel or once made you feel. And it's hard to break that connection, I think. I think that's part of it. And the other part is just plain absence of discipline. And that's just what it is.
Yeah, but you've been so disciplined lately. You're wasting away. I mean, you got onto that now. I think you're starting to tackle that.
I'm working on it. I'm at the age where it really, really counts. So I'm getting serious, or a little more serious. We'll see.
Okay, so not serious, Cary.
Thank goodness.
What's one of your favorite extracurricular activities just to do on fun time?
One of them we're going to do tonight. We subscribe to a jazz series in St. Louis, Jazz St. Louis. It's a beautiful jazz club in Midtown in the Arts District. And we've been subscribers for at least 10 years. It's all winter. It starts in September. It goes through May or June. Every 2 weeks, there's an incredible jazz talent who comes in, and we have we've been lucky. We've been going so long. We've got great tickets right by the stage. And so tonight we're going to see a vibraphonist named Stefan Harris, who's unbelievable. We've seen him before. We love music. That's number one. And we'd love to go to the St. Louis Symphony. We used to go to Opera St. Louis. We just love all kinds of music. And that's probably number one. Number two is we just like to hang out, Dee and I, with each other, and we like old movies. So we are devotees of Turner Classic Movie Channel, which is great in the wintertime. And we do that. Those are
so
the
when
two.
you schedule this, So when you scheduled this and it was like, yeah, I could do it at, I think it would have been 7 your time. You came home and you told Dee and said, yeah, I'm, going to have fireside, chat with Jim and Kiilu at 7. And she said, no, you're not.
She said, we have tickets, remember? And you guys were good enough to move it back, which I appreciate.
I get that line, remember, a lot. Like, Jim,
Yeah.
remember I told you this.
Yeah.
Remember when I'm like, you know, you would think, but no.
I'm conditioned to it. When I hear remember in that tone, it makes my stomach hurt. You just immediately feel like, oh, what did I miss?
Even if you don't remember, usually you're like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, honey.
You're exposed and dead meat.
Yes. What's one of your favorite movies?
Oh gosh. Well, so we don't necessarily share the same taste in movies, and I've got a ton of them, but one of them I can never miss when it's on is an old Steve McQueen movie called Bullet. I don't know what it is about it. It's got probably the most famous chase scene in the movies in history. One of the tippy top ones. The plot is labyrinthine and doesn't truly make sense. But it's got a certain vibe. I love it. And every time I DVR'd it, it was on this week. And that's when Dee says, you know what, I'll go watch on the other TV. I like that one a lot. And I love, of course, the Godfather movies. 2 of them are watchable. The third one is unwatchable, I think. But it's a great movie. And there's a ton of them I love. I love The Third Man. It's an Orson Welles movie. It's got music playing throughout on this instrument. I think it's a zither. It's an interesting plot, and it's a beautiful movie. It was shot in Vienna, and you know what? It was from 1947, and I was looking it up. So you can still go if you ever visit Vienna. You can go on a Third Man site tour where they filmed parts of that movie. So it was a pretty neat movie, but there's 100 of them I love.
That's awesome.
100.
Is that more the genre as just, old classic movies? Is that what you consider your, it's, hey, if it's an old classic movie, that's my type? Or is it like, some people like spaghetti western, some people like this, or you're going to say, hey, it's just an old genre type thing? I
would say I like classic movies, but like, Bullet, it's become a classic. It wasn't in 1968, but it is. So yeah, I guess I would take the old off of it, although I like a lot of old ones. But
was Jacqueline Bisset? Who's in Bullet?
Yes, that's right. That was the love interest. That was his girlfriend, Jacqueline Bisset.
That's
Steve McQueen and a bunch of, Robert Vaughn was in it. He was it was just a lot of people.
Wait, Robert Vaughn, he was in Magnificent Seven, right?
He might have been. He was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and he was in a lot of movies. And he was the prosecuting attorney in that movie.
Okay.
So here's an example of my discipline. I don't know if you can hear it, but that's the ice cream truck coming through the neighborhood.
And you're still with us.
I'm sitting right here. Sitting right here.
You might question that decision later again, just so you know.
I was just wondering if we could wrap this up in a moment.
We have to take a quick minute break.
Gotta run out front. I'll be right back.
Hey, Mary does wonderful things. We wouldn't even know that you left,
She could cut and paste and it would be fine.
Exactly.
Now if you were
so
to
we're
run
back
there
with Cary after getting ice cream. So.
Yeah. Are you a bomb pop kind of guy, or what?
No, I am an ice cream sandwich kind of guy.
There you go.
I get the jumbo ice cream sandwich. It's delicious.
See, that's good. So got the little sweet tooth there, huh?
Or the big Neapolitan. That's even better. It's got 3 flavors.
Yeah.
I was just in Ohio, and they've got this place called Grater's. It might be the greatest ice cream ever. Shout out to Phyllis who turned me on to it. but it's like
Uh-oh.
it's got like chunks of like chocolate in it, and it's not like a little chunk. It's literally like chunks where you would have to like cut the chunk in half with a spoon. It's so big.
It's pretty good.
Just
You're gonna-
They,
awesome.
they have graters
Kiilu-
at our market. I know it's a Cincinnati product, I think. But,
Yeah.
delicious.
But you guys got the custard out there,
You got
Yeah.
the
which
frozen
is
custard.
yes.
Ted Drew's.
Oh,
Mm.
oh my
Pretty
gosh.
amazing. Like
Remember
silk.
when I walked out and I think I had like, 8 of them? I was just like,
Yes, I do.
yeah, here we go. And people were like, Kiilu, want my custard? I was like, sure.
Why
I'll take
not?
your custard. Yeah.
It's really
Okay.
good.
Now I want to know this. So when you took a group of us around St. Louis, you knew more facts about St. Louis than most tour guides. So is that stuff you just store, or did you kind of look up some stuff ahead of time?
Well, I mean, a lot of it, because you hear it and read about it frequently when
Yeah.
you're in the city that you're in. And I'm sure if I came to Dallas, you'd tell me a lot about it. I don't know. But I do. We have a really rich local history here, and it's really a wonderful city to be in. We've enjoyed it.
Lifelong Cardinals fan, I'm assuming.
Yes. Boy, that was a tough loss.
Mhm.
Two and out in the playoffs. But the
Yeah.
Phillies are killing it. I don't think anybody saw them coming.
No, I mean, I Philly. I mean, just alone being a Dallas fan is hard enough to say anything about positive with Philly. But for those watching, you're having a year. Enjoy it.
That seemed very genuine and open-handed, Jim.
It sure was. It sure was. I'm going to hear about it from some people.
I was going to say, is baseball still going on? Like, I quit watching baseball.
Yeah.
Dodgers went out and it was like TV off. Baseball season is over.
Yeah.
So I think the last text that my boys and I are like, so who's going to be a shortstop next year? Because we usually like text baseball nonstop.
Yeah.
Dodgers lost, and I don't think we still text, but I don't think we've said anything about baseball
Really?
other than who's going to be the Dodgers shortstop next year. That's it.
Even with a great ball player in the family?
With
You're-
K2?
K2?
Well, yeah, we'll talk about his baseball, but
Okay.
MLB is done. It's dead to us. It's
Got
dead
it.
to us until, spring training comes in or just before spring training, then we'll probably start talking about it again. But
Yeah.
no, yeah. K2's off in Florida, and, so he's having a blast, and, he's I think you'd still consider him a redshirt freshman. He's been there one semester, so he's still in his redshirt
Okay.
freshman year.
Wow.
But I guess he's, starting first base or something like that. And so, Tara still believes we're going to, buy property out there. So all you Florida people, I'm coming.
Yeah,
That would be
it'll be
fun.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, Cary, what's one of your favorite sports to play? And then is it different from what you like to watch?
Well, I just like to watch baseball. I used to like to watch football.
Oh yeah.
When the
Yeah,
Rams
I forgot.
left, I swore off the league. Some of my friends in the academies still think that's stupid, but that I guess in terms of sport, I like baseball, and I like to watch the Olympics when they're on.
Mhm.
They're amazing.
Yeah. Now, were you I should say the football Cardinals fan back in the day?
Oh yes, that was the team I grew up with, and they
Okay.
were, largely hapless, but they had some great years in the 70s, and they were. I'd take them back in a second.
Yeah.
But Kiilu's got them now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. Now, what is it? Deerdorf? Was it Deerdorf and Ryan's? Is that his
Yeah.
steak place?
It was Deerdorf and Hart.
Deerdorf and
Yeah.
Hart. That's right.
I don't
That's
think
right.
they're around anymore. They used to have, I don't know, 5 or 6 locations, but I don't think they're in existence anymore. Although Deerdorf and Hart are.
But they had good steaks.
Well, it was a
That
great
yeah.
restaurant. Yeah.
Oh
it was
yeah,
good.
that's a great steak place.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been there.
I have been there. I went there. Good gosh, it would have been in like 1992 or 93 or something like that.
Yeah,
I
wow.
went there. It
Uh-huh.
was awesome.
Yeah, they were still going great guns then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cary, who would you say your hero is?
My hero.
Other than D, I mean, we know that was the first answer. but
D's
go ahead.
everybody's hero. So,
She's- she's the best, isn't she? She is.
yes, she is.
She is all right. And I don't know. I have a lot of heroes, I guess. I like history. So, we've had some great leaders over the years. I think the greatest was probably Lincoln. One of our colleagues is a Lincoln scholar. There may be more than one, but Steve Peskind up in Chicago, he's a Lincoln scholar. I don't know anybody who's read more about Lincoln than he.
Oh, wow.
Great lawyers. It would be hard to select one, but some of our colleagues are kind of my hero. Honestly, we have colleagues in all the major cities, and you can think of the ones that you'd like to emulate. Because you see how they treat other people, and you see how they deliberate over issues and making decisions, and you just know that in their practice they're probably amazing. And we're lucky we've got a lot of them in the academy. Every once in a while you see someone take a stand that's an unpopular position, but it's the right position. Those people are always to be admired. But I can't think of one particular hero. I guess I'm a little shallow. Sorry.
No, what if, okay, so let's say you could have,
My dad, I love, he was
Yeah.
an amazing guy. He was a surgeon,
oh,
and he
A
was
surgeon. All right.
a surgeon in a small town. I mean, he grew up here in St. Louis, but circumstances were such that he started his practice in a small town nearby, and he was busy as can be. I think he stayed there because he was too busy to leave. And he had a great bedside manner and a great way with people, and he was a great counselor to his children. And so, I mean, we all, but my dad was certainly my hero, and
that's awesome.
fit in that set for certain.
Out of curiosity, what's the small town?
Troy. I grew up in Troy, Missouri, which is
Oh, yeah.
the seat of Lincoln County, on the way to Hannibal.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could have dinner with 4 people from any time period, who would you pick?
Dead or alive.
Right.
Kiilu Davis, Jim Mueller,
We'll get the check.
just
I
4.
was gonna say Jim will get the check.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be really interesting to. I think Eisenhower was a fascinating person. I mean, he led an army, he led a university, he led the country for 2 terms. You got to have a pretty broad skill set, and I think he would be interesting. I think as movie actors go, I love Michael Caine. He's probably done more movies, and they're not all great movies, but he's always working. I mean, he's always worked kind of like a lawyer. They're not all great cases. Some of them you wish you didn't take. Some of them the facts don't turn out to be what you hope they were, but but you're working it. And I admire him. There are a lot of others. Gosh, those are really good questions.
Only 2 though. We need 2 more.
I know, 2 more. Well, I think a great musician. I think it would be great to be with Dizzy Gillespie. I think he was a remarkable jazz musician, trumpeter.
I thought you were going to say Thelonious Monk, but Dizzy Gillespie. I like that.
I'd take Thelonious. That would be awesome. And let me see who else. Paul McCartney. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what an amazing person. An amazing talent. I don't think he reads music. but he writes it. And
Wow.
I love his music. I love the Beatles, and I don't think that's a small group of people that love the Beatles, but count me in as one of them.
That's a great dinner. That would be awesome.
Well, I'm guessing that Eisenhower would be like, it's past my bedtime. He'd be done. I think Dizzy and Paul might stay up. And who was the other one? Did we come up with a fourth? Michael Caine?
He said
He
Michael Caine.
might be bedtime now too, but he's a great storyteller, a terrific storyteller. If you ever see him on YouTube, he's got a lot of stories to tell. The other thing that he does, which I think is interesting, which now we're going into the esoteric here. There's a series of videos on YouTube where he teaches film acting to young actors. And what's interesting about it is he's got a great manner, but I'm not an actor. And it's really interesting because you see, he teaches them the difference between stage and screen, which you just assume at least I would assume acting is acting. No, it's very different. And that's what those videos that he did, and they're still on YouTube, I think, demonstrate. And it really makes it interesting. And then you watch movies with a different pair of eyes with that knowledge also. So he's just, I think, have always thought he's a pretty interesting guy.
Oh, wait. So I forgot. We usually do this very early. But Cary, did you ultimately end up getting a drink or not?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So what are you
My
drinking?
drink of choice.
Oh, Diet Coke. Okay. Well, that's going to make Jim and I look bad, but hey, it's all right. So Mueller, what are you drinking this time around? Don't say ranch water again, please.
Yeah, sadly, you know how that is. I've got my little ranch water. I've got my tequila and Topo Chico and my lime juice. So we're all set.
All right.
How about you?
I'm not going to break a streak. I'm going to say I'm drinking seltzer and vodka again. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? So I'll just go with that. But Cary, I thought you were going to get a glass of wine. Or you were going to get something.
Well, I thought about it, but I ran short on time, and having missed our appointment the last time, I was not going to miss it this time. So there you go.
Well, we're glad.
Right.
We're definitely glad you didn't. Yeah. So, are you a reader at all, or are you an audiobook guy?
I'm a reader. I find it challenging to read as much as you'd like to read with our professional reading, but I like usually I like nonfiction more than fiction, and I read a lot of current events. I read the papers but I don't read books as much as I would like to. I'd like to get back to that, find a way to carve out that time. I like
it's hard.
It is hard. I like history and biography. And
okay. What's one of your favorite biographies?
I read who published the Washington Post? Katharine Graham.
Oh.
She wrote a wonderful biography I read just a couple of years ago called Personal History. And she led a fascinating life. And it was during a really interesting period of time, from the Depression through, the 70s and 80s. And she's an excellent writer and had interesting anecdotes and stories to tell. And I thought that was a great book. I once read a book by a man named Clark Clifford. He was a close advisor to Truman and JFK and LBJ. And it was the reason I bought it is because it was called Counsel to the President, which I thought, that sounded interesting. It was full of fascinating stories and anecdotes about things that happened, although, for 40 years, and you wouldn't know these behind the scenes stories, but for reading his book. There are 1,000 biographies I think would be interesting to read.
Did you give McLaren a copy?
I should, but I think he was already pretty well equipped. He was
Yeah.
already pretty well equipped.
Say, Jim, I expect a book here in a couple of years by you. You could, counsel to the president.
Yeah, all right.
He could change the
What-
names.
Yeah,
It'll be Mary Kogerman. That way, nobody knows who he's talking
Yeah.
about.
nobody will figure that out.
Nobody.
I'm going to suggest that tomorrow. I'm going to send him a note
So,
because he doesn't
Cary,
have enough to do.
Yeah. So have you ever had a nickname?
Ooh.
I've never really had a nickname except, when I was a kid, everybody called everybody by their last name, and I was Mogs. But
Mogs.
we don't use
Mogs.
that. We don't use that now.
Well, we do now.
We do now?
We do now.
That's a great
Yeah.
nick. That is a great
Mogs.
nickname.
These interviews are quite revealing.
Yes, I will tell you right now. From here on out, I do declare you are Mogs. So I will come up to you and be like, Mogs.
I don't care what you call me as long as it's nice.
It'll be Mogs.
So, are you planning a trip to Israel anytime soon?
Well, we were just there in July, and we saw
Okay.
our grandchild turn 3, which was great.
Wow.
July in Israel, I don't know if I can recommend it. It's really, really, really hot, but it was a
Okay.
great trip. We spent, I was there 10 days. He was there an additional week, and we hope to go back next year and as many times as we can. We'd like to. We have 2 adult children there and
So,
2
all right. So I thought one was
daughters-in-law.
one had come back.
I'm sorry.
So I thought one had come back. So he
No.
went back. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got 2, and 1 in Des Moines, Iowa, who's about
Oh,
to
that's right. Des Moines.
have
Oh,
our
that's
second
right.
grandchild. Yeah. So if it doesn't start with an I, you can't live there. Starts with an I.
That's got to be a little limiting, you would think,
It apparently is. Yeah.
No, but that was fascinating because that one grandson that's living in Israel right now, you met him when he was how old? Was he-
I actually met him at the mid-year meeting in March. That was the first time I met him in person because he
In
was
person.
born just before COVID hit, and then you couldn't travel there, and so he was
Yeah.
born in July of 19, and we were there when he was born. I guess I did meet him when he was a baby, and we
Yeah.
were there for that, and then COVID came, and he was able to kind of thread the needle in October of 21. There was a brief period that you could, and it was between the surges, but I wasn't able to get away. But we got away in July of 22, and it was wonderful. But they came to the March meeting. All of my
Yeah.
kids did. You imagine traveling from Tel Aviv to Indian Wells, California. It was an enormous taxing trip for them, but they did it, and
Yeah.
it was, really enjoyed that slide. So it was good.
That's
It
amazing.
wasn't. And your kids, I remember what I met when we were in St.
They were-
Louis. I think one had come home, right? And
When was it? Oh, yes, one was home
Yeah.
in 16. And was it September of 16 when
I think it was.
he came and some other of our friends came? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Ben, our youngest, and he was in town.
Yep.
That's
And then and
Right.
in Wells, I sat down and had drinks with your sons. Would have been later, and it was just like they're just great kids. Just
Thank
great
you. Oh,
kids.
yeah.
Done a great
We had a
job.
blast.
Don't you
They're
find that
very-
your kids enjoy those meetings and they make friends and they stay in touch with them?
Yes.
They do.
You know,
yes.
And that's one of the things I love about the mid-year meeting is it's so family oriented that, I kind of laugh because I'd get done with meetings at the beginning of it and come back and Olivia would say, "Oh, do you know a Lee Rosenberg? Because I just sat with Jennifer. And
Yeah.
do you know a Kiilu? Because I just sat with I'm like, yes, I do." And so everybody,
Because the
there's
kids are all at the pool.
kids are all at the pool. I mean, now, the dangerous part is now the wives are all on the text, group text, which is
They
that's-
are. It's like,
that's
oh no.
that's dicey.
It really is. But the good thing is it's now like all the kids will go to the pool and it's like they can go off because I think Michaela might be the oldest of them. So then she's like
Yes.
the ringleader. And so she kind of keeps them in play and kind of hey, I'll entertain them and take them off. And so that gives everybody else a chance just to wind down. Like even when we were at Cake's birthday, it was like, it was, Julie's birthday. It was, it would have been Evelyn's birthday. But Julie put it on. It was just like, you could just watch the kids and it's like, wow, all those kids are going to be friends for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when our boys were younger and going with us to those meetings, Wally Marzano Lesnovich really took that role. He wasn't an adult yet. He was a late adolescent, and he every meeting he made sure that all the kids hung together, got together. And I remember one trip he arranged a special dinner on the beach, and there were kids from age 7 to age 17 at this wonderful dinner, and it was really a nice thing. So maybe Michaela is that's her next move, is she's gonna inherit that mantle. But
I think they had T-shirts, didn't they? Have T-shirts made?
Yeah, they did
some
have T-shirts made. Yeah,
and
Yeah.
they had their own little Facebook group too, I think, and they all stayed in touch. And I think they all still kind of do have some contact. They're all grown up now, but
Yeah, no, that
it's
was
fun. It makes you feel good.
I know Natalie was a part of that. Francesca was a part. I mean, that was a lot of. I've heard about it over the years.
Yeah.
Well, it makes you feel good, especially because because we spend so much time away, that we at least know that our family are having fun, and our family is together, and our kids are taken care of, and so that kind of makes it a little bit easier just when we hop in for 1 second and be like, hey, how you doing? I'm off to my next meeting, off to the next thing, that we know that they're not just sitting by themselves.
Right. And they're having a good time.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're right. It was the Webb kids, Natalie and Brant. They were lawyers now, but
carrying the torch, doing a great job.
That's right.
So what's one of your favorite personal vacations that you've taken with the family?
Well, the first time we went to Israel as a family, that was an amazing trip. That was October of 14, and I had 2 sons over there living there. One of whom was still in the if you become a citizen there, you have to serve in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, and my youngest was a paratrooper in training, and we went in October for the conclusion of his training, and they have like a graduation at the end, and they give out special awards, and he got one. He was the lead in his group. They call it the Mitztayin, and he was recognized. He didn't even know the language when he went over there, and when he got done with his training, he was the top soldier in his group, and he got a special award, and it was just an amazing. I couldn't believe where we were and why we were there, and it was a great trip. We've been to Hawaii with the academy. Those were tippy top for the family. I mean, they were just great trips. A couple times we did that, and most of them are fun. Our family trips. We're really laid back. We don't schedule ourselves up with stuff that we have to see and have to do. So we let it kind of take place organically, and that works for us anyway.
I think that's a good phrase to avoid. I remind Olivia, when it's free time, I don't like the have to phrase of what we have to do.
Yeah.
We do enough of that.
One summer, my middle son was with a musical group, and they were touring the US, and when he was doing that, and he spent the summer in Manhattan Beach, California. They lived there, and we went out there with the kids, and we'd never really spent any time in Southern California, and that was an amazing trip. We were there for 2 weeks.
Awesome.
And saw a lot that you read about or see in the movies, but we experienced it ourselves. It's a beautiful area, very crowded. A lot of people figured it out before I did, but it was fun. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Would you consider yourself a beach person?
I think so, more than a mountain person, right? Or is that the dichotomy?
Yeah.
Beach and mountain.
Yeah.
Beach or snow,
I'm a warm weather person and a water person. But I get the other. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. Now, if you
But,
weren't a lawyer,
water, the opposite is just the water's frozen. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, you're right. Well, what would you
Throwing it
consider
out there.
yourselves? Are you guys,
Whoa, 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 whoa. We're conducting the interview here.
I'll ask the
But I like-
questions here.
I will definitely say
So
I'm
it's
not
not
a beach
really
person.
a chat, is it?
Yeah.
The
yeah,
fireside interrogation.
I joke. I've gotten more used to the mountains lately, but other than that, I like to hike in the mountains. I'm not
Yeah.
much of a skier. Olivia is by far the skier. I do much better sitting on the sand watching the ocean. It's a lot safer.
Well-
I am not a beach person. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
I grew up and we had a ski thing where we would go to, I want to say, I can't remember what it was. I don't think it was Breckenridge, but it would have been one of those ones maybe in Pennsylvania or something like that. So I grew up skiing, then I, started playing hockey. So I'm pretty much frozen water. I
Not to
like
be
the
said
cold.
for that.
Yeah, I like the cold. I do not. The guy that lives in Arizona.
I was
likes
just
the
going to
cold.
say the irony of the fact that, but here it is near 90 degrees and you still have a shirt and a vest on. So you've acclimated yourself to the heat. You just like to pretend it's cold.
And you're keeping that sun off your head.
That's right. Because look, I can't really afford to have too much.
Oh, I know.
It was funny because I wear knee braces when I golf. And so Tara's like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with your legs? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, right around your knees. I was like, well, what do you mean? What's wrong? And she's like, it's discolored. What's going on? And I was like, oh, that's just my knee braces. So you could see like where I've got the knee braces. So it comes up to my pants and then just below my calves or right on my calves, then I'm darker. And she really thought something was wrong with me.
You got some kind of bilateral knee disease.
Yeah. I was like, no, that's just the knee braces, honey. You're fine. You're fine. We're all good.
Not that you play golf enough to have a lasting indelible mark, if you will, but
I used to think it was funny because growing up in Virginia, there was a guy that his dad belonged to a country club that I used to work at, that I caddied and did all sorts of stuff. And he'd go to his meetings and he would hold his hand like this. You can't see, he'd hold it like that because he'd cover up his hand that had the glove because everything else up here and his hand would be white. And I was like, man, you got to play a lot of golf to get like a golfer's tan. I have one.
Well,
Cary,
you must
you're not a
play lot
golfer.
of golf.
Are
I
you a
took it up.
golfer?
I took it up in my 40s, and I did it for 6 or 7 or 8 years. And I reached the level of proficiency, which proficiency is a very generous word. And I just became impatient with it, I think. And then I played in Scottsdale recently at a meeting, and it reminded me why I didn't play it. So it's an amazing game. It's beautiful wherever you play. It doesn't even matter. All the courses are gorgeous. They're in beautiful settings, but it's just not something I do much. But I get it.
The Phoenician? Was that at the
Yeah,
Phoenician?
yeah.
That's a beautiful course.
It was gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful course.
But every course I've been on here in St. Louis is a beautiful course, and certainly everywhere we travel with the academy, there are beautiful courses. And
Yeah.
yeah, but it's a
I'm
great game.
convinced that's how they pick. I'm pretty sure you guys pick your mid-year meetings based on the golf courses. Other than Brent, that might do it based on the gym, but I haven't been to the gym in the Bahamas yet, so we'll find out.
Me neither.
It's,
And I don't
gonna
blame
have to
them.
have like, yeah, I bet
Brent's
it's
gonna
got
be
the
like,
best of
oh,
both.
you should see the weights. The weights are
Mhm.
awesome. It's really
Yeah.
nice. It's
Special Bahamian
it's
weights.
a clean facility, and you get this
We'll get a
great
to-
push.
We'll get a tour of the ellipticals. It'll be
Oh,
great,
good.
you know. So you wouldn't be a professional golfer, but if you weren't a lawyer, what do you think you'd be?
I would be a teacher, and I'd be in music somewhere. I think
Yeah. Did you
maybe
play
I-
an instrument?
I was a trumpeter. So was Dee. That's how we met.
Really? Tell us that.
Yeah, wait, how did, where's the story? Give us the story.
Dee was the new girl at my high school when I was a sophomore, and she came to band class, and I was the section leader, and it was my job to make sure that she knew everything in the band. And she was in the trumpet. She was a trumpeter also. So we both played through college, and we really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Back in the heyday, I played trumpet. Well, a long,
Did
long
you?
time ago. Yeah, that was it. Loved it.
I kind of wish I hadn't let it go. I really did. After I pretty much in law school, I was done with the trumpet, but I enjoyed it very much. I
Yeah.
enjoyed
Kiilu,
playing.
did you ever play? Did you ever play an instrument?
Like in the band?
No,
Or anything like
not
that?
even not even in a band, even just casually. I don't know if you're a harmonica guy, I didn't know,
Yeah, I used
like a
to
grand.
see, I went through a phase of guitar, then I went through the drums and played the violin for a little bit, but yeah, that was about it. Then we got a
That's about it.
piano. We played, I could play the piano and play a few things, but nothing major where like I was concentrating, like, where you have piano practice or anything like that. It's like
Yeah.
I could read enough music where I could play some stuff, but yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
It's not that I didn't enjoy it, but I was more of if I was doing any sort of practice on the inside, I was thinking about what sports that everybody was playing on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where my mind always went. That's where I always doing. And so it was more about that.
Yeah.
Like I wish I would have like stuck with it and
Yeah.
really, dedicated myself to at least, play something for a period of time.
Right.
But I also don't mind the fact that I dedicated myself to, being outside and, in the grass and playing on a, court or whatever. So kind of, it's hard to juggle both. And I know people
It
have,
is.
I just wasn't able to.
Yeah. No, I think it's very difficult. And but you were exposed to it.
Yeah.
I was. My dad was. I know that when he passed away, we had storage units that we had to put for his records. So growing up,
Wow.
where most people had, TVs,
Yeah.
me and my sister had, we had a record player, we had, a tape player, we had, the aux, we had a receiver. So I learned very early on how to mix music and do, all that kind of stuff and come
Really?
down
Well,
and
that's cool.
yeah.
That is
So
cool.
that was his big thing, is that he introduced us to music from the very beginning.
That
And
is.
so you appreciate it. You just don't play it.
I do. I very much appreciate it. And I think that's why he got us the piano. It's just because, he appreciated it. He wanted us to do it. And so when we were supposed to start, we just never really could get into it. But we grew up with music our entire lives.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of it.
I think that's good. I joke. I'm down at the ranch this weekend, and one of my favorite things about when I get here is we try not to put any TVs on unless it's sports. But other than that, it's like turn the music on, and we constantly have music playing, and it's all over the bluegrass to obviously old country and all that stuff. It's fun.
I tell Dee I don't want to live in a world without satellite radio. I just love it. And there's just so much out there, and it's just it's accessible now, and the internet.
Yeah.
But to me, it's great.
But that's a great part. Think about when we were growing up, it just wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
If you wanted to hear a song, you had to sit in front of the radio forever just to. Now it's literally just search it, pull it up, play it. Some of that kind of, to me, the accessibility kind of takes away from it. But I think it's great that our kids have so much music available to them at the, drop of a finger.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it is very different. I remember putting a stack of LPs on the spindle and it would drop one at a time. and-
Drop one.
Yeah. But
I was gonna say, was it the pterodactyl that, came down and like just played it around and
it feels like it. It
like.
feels like it. Like at the Flintstone household.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking in my mind. I'm like, whew.
I think that's how our children would look at it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a pretty
100%.
historic device.
So, Cary, if you were stranded on a desert island, what? And I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to say, I got high hopes for this answer because you said you were going to be a teacher. So I'm coming at this that you're going to come at it from the intellectual way.
This is gonna be fun.
If you were stranded on a desert island, what three would you have with you, or would you bring, or would you want?
I would want, a record player or a radio. You want me to demonstrate my lack of survival skills?
No,
No,
keep
no,
going.
No,
Keep
hold
going.
on.
Keep going. It'll come
You got-
later, but go ahead.
There's two more.
Two more.
Two more. A few books would be nice, so I could read over and over and over again.
Well, now you said a few books. That's not four things. You get three things. So
Okay.
let's go back. You got a record player and one book,
A photo album.
a photo album. All right. So here's my follow-up question to that.
Great. I can't wait.
Great.
It's a deserted island.
Yeah.
Exactly what are you plugging your record player into so that you could listen to anything?
I suspended my disbelief enough to answer your question. You're right. I guess, didn't you see Gilligan's Island? They had a whole generator set up with an exercise bike.
Yeah.
I guess that's
Then
it.
you should have said a record player, a generator.
I would have a
And an
professor,
exercise
a
bike.
record player, and a book.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
that would be awesome. A professor, a record player, and a book. I would absolutely go with that. All right. See, that's the intellectual side. That's a great
This
answer.
is the kind of deep stuff that you can't really get anywhere else.
They don't write this stuff down.
No,
us, you know?
right.
It's-
There's a reason.
Yeah.
Well, what are you guys doing tonight? Anything good?
My neighbor has an Oktoberfest starting up. I think it already started, or it's starting in the next, whatever. But he does it yearly, Oktoberfest. We go down to his place and, brats, beer, and, whatever. But it's not like I'm married to it. Like
Sounds
everyone
fun.
knows. Yeah, it's early years, it was always a lot of fun. But everyone who knows me also knows how I feel about, just my neighborhood.
I affectionately refer to my father now as the ranch hand, and he had a shoulder replacement. So I spent all day moving cattle and taking bales of hay and unloading that. And so I'm going to cook for them tonight, have a cigar, and actually I think it's supposed to drop enough that I can light a fire. So we're probably going to just have a very laid back, not Oktoberfest.
Very physical day. Wow.
But Mueller, you have already had a cigar, so you can't have any more.
Oh no, Olivia was not out here, so only the three of us know that I had a cigar.
That's the
so-
tree falling in the woods rule.
Exactly.
Except for I have Olivia's phone number, and I'll be sending her a text right now.
You could, but I knew that you played golf today, so that's like hitting that nuclear bomb button.
Whoa.
I mean, Tara,
I too have only
Yeah.
had one cigar today. So
exactly.
all right. I will close my phone and shut it off.
All right. So, Cary, I know you've got the symphony tonight, right?
The Jazz St. Louis. Yeah.
Jazz St. Louis. Okay.
Right.
We want to make sure you get there on time. Kiilu, We're
All
at
right.
almost the hour. Here we go. This is our
This is our
creme
speed
de la
lightning
creme of
question.
question.
All right. One, I'll ask it first. If you could have any superhero power, what would it be?
Flight.
Flight. So then this might make it easier. If you could be any superhero, who would it be?
Superman.
All right, there we go. That
There you
was
go.
probably the most decisive,
I mean, he pretty much
answer
had-
we've ever had.
He had the whole
Yes.
sliver of powers. He had X-ray vision. He could fly. He could work around Mueller's ranch, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
It takes.
you know, you come into those green rocks, he's going to be in trouble. But, you know, other than that, it's
Yeah.
amazing all his superpowers, but
Yeah,
one little gemstone.
yeah.
And so why would you be Superman? Because
Well-
he's the entire package. Is that what you're saying?
It just goes back to the flight, the power of flight. In my imagination, that is just an amazing thing that you could just jump up and fly somewhere through the air, just like you can run or walk. That is a superpower that, to me, it just seems like that would really be what you'd want if you were in the market for a superpower. X-ray vision, okay. The power to turn invisible, that's really a defensive mechanism. But the power to fly, that's just an amazing thing. You ever had a dream where you're flying through the air?
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty cool thing.
I was going to say sober. No, just kidding.
I'm much faster, thank God, when I'm flying, at least in my dreams.
Yes. Well, when I fly in my dreams, when I have those dreams, I fly using a freestyle swim stroke. It's pretty stupid. Isn't that stupid? Can you imagine? What a dumb dream.
No, you're not even like this.
No, I'm just kind of plopping along, swimming laps.
That
You know
doesn't
what's
slow you
weird,
down
Cary?
at all.
Huh?
That doesn't slow you down at all. You know,
Well,
are you
I'm
wait?
sure
Are
it's
you
not
kicking
the-
with your feet? Are you kicking with your
it's-
feet? Or
Probably. It's not the ideal method of flight, I know. But that's just how it is in my dream. But if I could
In
do
my
it like
dream,
Superman, that would be great.
that's so interesting because in my dreams where I've done that too, I started running and then you almost have to start a freestyle swimming in order to be able to fly. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure why
Not
that's
either.
in my head that way. Yeah.
Strange part of the brain, but
I'm honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I've ever had a dream where I was flying.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
You got to
Have
try
you had
that.
a dream where you're falling?
no, I did have a dream the other day where it wasn't me, it was Donovan playing first base, and the ball came to him, and it then took a funny hop, and I reached out to get it, and I literally threw myself out of the bed. So I landed like 5 feet
Oh,
from the bed.
that's a
Like-
vivid dream.
It was.
Holy cow.
It wasn't. It was like crash everything. You know,
Really?
just I dove out of the bed to get this bounding ground ball.
Wow.
Did you get it?
Oh, I woke up.
Oh, well, so technically no.
Well, I believe, but the
I
whole
think that's
thing
an
was
error.
I was
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
get it. I was trying to
That's
get
an-
it and keep my
That's an
foot
Arizona
on the,
problem.
yeah, I was trying to keep my foot on the base when I like dove out of the bed
Oh,
to
man.
get the ball, and you
That's
know,
a very
woke up
vivid dream.
everybody 5 o'clock in the morning. You know,
Really?
Tara's just like, what's going on? Yeah, I was like, here's the bed, and I was over here. Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Never had a dream like that. That's something.
Oh, it was, you know, you can't have dreams like that, you know.
Tara
Yeah,
had to be so
dreams.
happy.
Oh, she loves telling the story.
Ah,
you
that's
know, within 24 hours, I swear, I think she had told 5 or 6 people.
Well, this was Cary. I mean, as expected, absolutely incredible. And
I don't
thank
think I
you.
gave you much, but I really enjoyed it. And I
Oh,
thank
that's
you for
all-
the
that's-
invitation.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Mogs, you gave us a lot.
Can I tell you a story about that? I knew better than to tell you that because we had a meeting I went to the Journal board meeting, and I I'll do him the favor. I won't tell him who, but they were doing an icebreaker around the table, and one of our fellows who's on the journal board revealed that in his early years, he had boxed, he'd been a professional boxer, and we were all fascinated by that. And
Really?
I called him the Hammer after that. Every time I saw him, I don't think he liked it, and I don't blame him. And I felt bad because he felt comfortable enough to reveal that to us, and there we are starting to call him the Hammer now.
I
So,
like it. I mean, the
yeah.
Hammer's a good nickname. I
Yeah.
mean, if you called him the Butterfly, that, you know, after being a professional boxer, that might
Yeah.
be something we wouldn't like, but the
Yeah,
Hammer's
probably.
okay.
Yeah, that's okay. He's a good guy too.
Yeah,
Well,
but
thank
no
you,
one's better.
Guys.
No one's better than Mogs. I'm gonna say that right now.
Yeah.
All right. That one's on me, I know. Okay, fine.
But have a great night, and please be
Thank you.
sure and tell Dee hello, because yes.
I shall.
And tell her I will make her a drink. Actually, last time I saw her in Ohio, I made her a drink. So I'll make her another drink.
Someone
next
asked,
time.
what's her favorite drink? And she said, whatever Kiilu recommends. That's it.
That's right. That's
Tell
right.
Tara and Olivia, thank you for letting this take you away from them this afternoon. I apologize again about missing that thing on Thursday, but
No
They're going to
worries.
send you flowers for
maybe.
giving them an hour
Yeah,
for a
seriously.
free
They're
time.
gonna be like, oh my gosh, I didn't have to listen to Kiilu for an hour. Cary, thank you.
You
Maybe
made their
so.
night.
Okay. Whatever I
Awesome.
can do.
Yes,
Thank you, guys.
awesome.
I
Thank
really
you all.
enjoyed it.
Take care.
You guys
too.
have a good
Nice
one.
chat.
All
Have
right,
a good
bye.
weekend. See ya.
Yep.